what is Syndicate to start off before we kind of start talking about stuff? So it's an infrastructure protocol. It's a platform. And we like platforms. You know, if this is your first time watching the show, platforms in any kind of industry is always a good investment, or the best investments, I would say, because they allow things to be built on top of them. And those things that are built on top of them makes the platform that much more valuable. Hence, you know, Facebook's the top marketing platform. Google is the top search engine platform. Ethereum is the top platform for smart contracts, which Base is built on, and Arbitrum and Optimism and Polygon and ZK Sync and all these different, you know, projects. You have the App Store with Apple. You have the Google Play Store with Google. It makes it more valuable because they get a piece of all that revenue and camaraderie. All right. So basically, Syndicate's a infrastructure protocol that enables app chains, which are application-specific blockchains, where devs can build a chain with their own, basically, rules. Some of those rules: transaction sequencing, logic, governance, MEV policies, fee models. It basically gives you more freedom on what you want to do with your chain. And there's a cool concept out there called blockchains as cities, right? And just like we have different internet browsers, where it's not just going to be one chain, right? And just if you look at cities, right, you have the most important difference to cities other than the laws is their building codes. Like I live here in San Francisco, and in San Francisco, while you do have to have keep your home in Victorian style, you can paint it whatever color you want. Like you can do whatever you want with your house. But in places like Arizona, all the houses have to look similar. In places like New York, you can build really, really high all over the city. San Francisco is not that many high rises unless you go downtown. New York, everywhere is a high rise. So depending on what you want to do, what you want to build, that will determine what chain you use. And right now, it's kind of like just a lot of dirt and a lot of people just building, but we don't really know what's going to be housed inside of those buildings yet. The most clear idea that we have is Ethereum. And that's why most of the building has happened on Ethereum, and also Solana, right? People like launching meme coins on Solana. It's built for speed, etc. So you have the Syndicate token, which is the native token of the network. It's used for gas, and they have staking, right? And then, so it's just like, why are we even talking about this project? Like, why are we talking about Syndicate of all Base projects? Well, Base is Coinbase's blockchain. We're really bullish on Base. Coinbase is the white knight of crypto, and this is a platform within a platform. So I think if Base continues to do well, if the Base app does well, and then projects start to build on Syndicate, those projects with tokens on Syndicate are going to pump. So I like to keep my eyes out for platforms that people start to build on top of. And that's why that was the first question that I asked Basejunkie before we even started this. So
it's actually Clanker Mon.
Clanker Mon is not the other Clanker?
No, so it's based off Clanker, but it's like a Pokemon type game.
Okay, got you. Okay, so now this is the biggest and the best analogy I can give for what Syndicate is kind of like Cosmos. Like they have their Cosmos is also an app specific chain, but this is more like an L3. So this Syndicate is built on top of Base, which is an L2, and this Syndicate, the Commons chain, actually inherits Base for its settlement layer, and Base settles to Ethereum. So Syndicate settles to Base while Base settles to Ethereum. So it's kind of like an L3. So like what problem is Syndicate solving? Because that's the most important thing. Like, are they solving a problem? Biggest one is centralization of transaction sequencing. So you have all these blockchains and rollups. They use centralized sequencers or orderers, which can lead to censorship risk, poor ordering, and non-transparent MEV, which is minor extractable value. So just to break down real quickly and simply what MEV is, when you have transactions like, and you're trying to get inside of the next block, the block gets added to the chain and your transaction gets verified, you have something called minor extractable value. And you have validators and miners who verify these transactions. When a transaction when it's pending, it goes into a pool, and the miner actually basically gets to choose what transaction they want to verify. Now, everyone's in this to make money. So obviously they're going to choose the transactions that make the most money. So that means smaller ones don't get as much of a priority, right? And that's why you have the whole tipping thing. And then you have a lot of these miners, like they kind of are in cahoots with each other. So it's almost like a monopoly where they won't take transactions that's under a certain level. And that's why Ethereum EIP 1559 went into play, which created a base fee to where ETH gets burned on every transaction, and so that people pay the lowest fee possible. So that kind of solved it. Okay. So another one, misalignment from value capture. So on many chains, value from transactions, MEV, and fees often accrue to the L1 or the centralized sequencer rather than the communities or the apps themselves. So like, for example, let's say I'm building, something on BASE, right? Or something on Arbitrum. And, my app's just bitching. It's making all these fees. It's doing great. Most of those fees are going to go to the validators and the sequencers into the base chain, into the ETH chain. What Syndicate is allowing you to do is so that you can actually capture some of that revenue, sustain your business, attract stakers, capture fees, and actually distribute value back to the people who are using your DApp, which I really, really like. So not every application, not every chain has the same needs. Some want low latency, some want particular ordering guarantees or particular fee economics. So Syndicate basically lets apps select or define these kinds of parameters, how they handle ordering, what fees they charge, how governance is structured, which is really, really important. So this means that apps aren't forced into a one-size-fit-all kind of roll-up model. Okay, now the risk. The success of this project is going to depend heavily on app chains actually being launched, right? Launched, used, staking behavior, developer adoption, where the developers build. If the developers aren't building on it, there isn't nothing to use. And if there isn't nothing to use, there isn't going to be any fees generated, right? So if a few app chains get traction and token demand may be weak, but if people start building on this thing, that's going to be really good. So now, just because the project is good, if the tokenomics are not good, it doesn't matter. So we can see here, we have a disparity of it's around 55% of the tokens that still have to come onto the market. All right. And the good thing is that a lot of people aren't going to want to sell at these prices. I do believe Syndicate raised VC capital. Basejunkie, correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, they did. So this is basically all of the people or groups that got token. Airdrops, pre-launch partnerships, liquidity operations, incentives, network commissions, staking, network treasury, basically to pay for things as the business continues to develop, when and if it continues to develop, research and development. Investors got 15% and the team got basically 25%. So basically almost half is split between the team and the investors. And if you go down here, what I do like is that the team and the investors with the largest stake, they have 4-year vesting with a 1-year cliff. Now, the difference between vesting and cliff, just to make this super, super simple because it's important. If you have a 1-year cliff, that's the time to where you can't sell anything. So 1-year cliff is like, okay, for this year, the tokens just have to sit there. I don't have access to them. It doesn't matter how high or low the price goes. Vesting, if it's vesting for 4 years, like let's say you have 100 tokens vesting over 4 years, that means every year 25% or 25 tokens is now under your command. You can sell them. You can do whatever you want with them. Okay. So this is the token release schedule. So after the first year, right, it said 1-year cliff. This is 12 months. So after 1 year, the cliff starts. So now the vesting starts for the investors and the team. And as you can see, the investors is the green here and the team is the purple. So right now it's just linear vesting amongst everyone else. Yeah, that's not too bad. So for a year, we're kind of in the clear. I am bullish on Q4 and Q1. So I definitely think Syndicate will pump, but I do want to see projects start to build on it. And once I see that, then I'll be more comfortable buying large positions. But right now, I'm probably going to start buying like small positions just because the price is so down.